What's going on, football fans? It's your boy J.R. Clark here with a truck thought on a Monday, on a day before cut down, on a day before the initial 53-man roster is set. And I had some thoughts on it because, hey, man, I'm sitting outside of Arthur Blank's Home Depot. Got me thinking about our Dirty Birds, right? Uh, so far, we have cut, 13 players as of yesterday, with the biggest name being Bradley and I, who had a sack in the forgettable Jacksonville game, which we'll talk about more tomorrow on the live with Jonathan. So hopefully y'all will join us for that. But back to this 53-man projection kind of thing. So far, like I said, I don't expect any surprise cuts, right? Because none of the starters played pretty much this whole preseason. So Raheem told you what he thought about preseason by not playing any of his guys. So the debates that we have all the time is preseason valuable or is preseason not valuable. Like for Raheem, he values the controlled chaos that is training camp, that is joint practices. That's what he values. And he told you that's what he values, right? So I commend him for at least sticking to his guns there. You saw Michael Penix for 16 or 26 snaps or whatever it was. And we hadn't seen him since. It was all the Tyler Heineke Paddock show, John Paddock show, which John Paddock got cut. And Tyler Heineke is probably going to get cut. They may be trying to hold out to see if somebody wants to trade for him. But I don't expect him to be on the roster. They may pick up John Paddock in the practice squad and keep him as the emergency 3. But I don't see them hanging on to Tyler Heineke for that. Now, DeMarco Hellams, when the 53 gets set, will probably be put on injured reserve, giving him a chance to come back. So even the 53 that gets set on Tuesday isn't going to be the final 53, right? But let's get talking about who I think might be a surprise cut. I don't think Carlos Washington makes the list. I think he didn't do enough to separate himself from Jace McMillan, or McClellan. I get the running back out of Alabama. He didn't do enough to separate himself from him, and he's a pick by this staff. So if they carry 4 backs, I expect he gets the nod. I don't know if they'll try to stash him on the practice squad or not. Another guy who I don't think makes the cut is Damone Harris, who showed out really well and who played really good. But when you traded for Matthew Judon, that's going to eat into the Bradley and I's, the Damone Harris's, and the D'Angelo Malone, who's another guy that I don't think is going to make this roster. I don't think D'Angelo Malone has shown enough outside of special teams. He's been active on special teams, but when given the chance against what should be his peers, he's not really able to make much of an impact. So I think, this is the end of the line for the former third-round pass rusher. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think that he makes the initial 53. They may try to stash him on the practice squad. Again, he just hasn't shown enough. I'll be interested to see how this CB2 battle goes into the season. I fully suspect that Mike Hughes starts as CB2, but Clark Phillips has done nothing but make plays. So I wonder if they give him a chance to actually get on the field in that CB2 outside cornerback slot. It seems like Kevin King is going to be if they care, depending on how many CBs they carry, he's probably going to be one of those CBs because they tried him out at safety in that last preseason game, and he looked pretty good doing it. So that gives him some positional versatility. That gives him more value to this team. So I think that he finds himself on the 53 as, if nothing else, a high-end, backup, as a high-end emergency starter with, starting experience in this league. Now, there's some guys that this team could look at with the groin injuries to both Caden Ellis and Nate Landman. It's really, I don't know if either one of those, how serious those are, because they don't necessarily have to report them right now. But this could open the door for a potential trade with the Rams. Now, it's been disputed by the player himself, but it seems like Ernest Jones V out there in LA isn't necessarily all that thrilled to be there. Now, he had a really good season under Raheem last year, so there's some familiarity. If one of those guys, Caden Ellis or Nate Landman, is going to be on the shelf for a while, I could see the team potentially making a move to bring in Ernest Jones. Another guy that they could bring in, depending on how they feel, and I say could, they could explore the market for him, and that's a John Mechie from Houston. He's had a really good preseason, finally back fully healthy, but for him, he's now in a crowded wide receiver room with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs. We did lose Rondale Moore, and Mechie could give you some of that explosive that we lost from Rondale. I don't know if they're willing to hand that over to Chris Blair, but right now your wide receiver room is Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod. You could potentially add a former second rounder for possibly cheap. That's something that they should, at bare minimum, should at least explore in the coming days, because there's still going to be some roster churning. Just because whatever's set tomorrow doesn't necessarily mean that that's the final 53 or the opening day 53. Terry's strength has been that pro personnel side, so I expect him to do some real good churning and potentially bring in some more depth guys. So yeah, that's my initial 53, man. No real big surprises. The biggest surprise might be like a D'Angelo Malone and a Carlos Washington finding themselves on the outside looking in. Anyway, catch us live tomorrow, 7 p.m. As always, Falcons fans, you can catch me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. Check Jonathan at Jonathan M. Holder. And come by, say hi, as he likes to say. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.